All right, House of Payne fans, Season 12, Episode 4, One-Legged Funeral Director. 8 out of 10. This season is pretty decent, to be completely honest with you. First of all, we get Jasmine back, and the sassy Jasmine, I am here for it. I really am. But when it comes down to it, I really think that this episode did a great job of getting that old school House of Payne feeling back. Now, kind of the B story of the episode is the fact that Christian isn't the best soccer player, and Curtis and Floyd try to help him out in terms of practicing. I mean, he tries to go for the soccer ball in the backyard, and bro is looking worse than Charlie Brown getting flipped up by Lucy every time she pulls the football away. So the back story of the episode is basically Curtis being an overbearing coach, but at the same time, his tactics, if you will, start to rub off on Christian, becoming far more aggressive, almost as if the boy is playing football rather than soccer. So later on in the episode, when it turns out that Christian got kicked out or banned from youth soccer, it was a result of him. He got 5 goals, and it's funny because Miranda's like, my baby got 5 goals. Well, some of them didn't count because he knocked out a few of the goalie's teeth, and he just knocked a girl so hard that she literally came out of her shoes and whatnot. But it turns out it's like, I want to play football, mommy. So there we go. That plot point was pretty cute. Also, cool to see Christian again. This episode did it was good to see a bunch of characters. But the main story of the episode was the fact that Miranda has a quote unquote tell-all book, which is, not a tell-all book. It's fictional. I was always the main ship. And she tells Ella and Jasmine about it, and they're pumped for it. But then, Calvin finds out about the book, and he's, concerned that, well, he was actually written into it as well. Turns out she had been writing this book ever since the divorce happened. And from there, you have Glow, Jasmine, Miranda, and Ella agreeing that the book should be used for their upcoming book club. Yep. So, we go over to this fool talking to Curtis about it, and Curtis is like, you better get in front of it then, because at first he doesn't think the book was about it, Calvin, but when Calvin says a few more things, he's like, well, if you really think you were written in that book, you better get in front of it. So he ends up going into the living room, and from there Miranda reassures him that you're not written in the book, Calvin. So when they go into the kitchen, Calvin swipes the box of books and he runs. And then later on in the episode, the book club goes down. And Calvin shows up and he's like, wait, what's going on? Wait, what's going on? Oh yeah, Miranda had ebooks. And Jasmine knows. He's like, yeah, it's kind of funny that the the books just disappear like that. Isn't that right, cousin Calvin? Yeah. So he goes into the kitchen, and then the book is just a hit with everybody who's listening to it. But Eduardo, the one-legged funeral director, all of a sudden Calvin thinks that's who he is, because earlier Ella warns Miranda that, look, even if Calvin isn't written into the book, he's a man, male ego and whatnot, he'll think he is. So, he thinks he's this one-legged funeral director. Which is funny because later on in the episode, when he's in the kitchen and overhears the book club talking, he thinks, they're talking about him. But in reality, the more the book is discussed, the more intrigued he becomes in the story. And then I think the funniest bit, because it was mentioned earlier in the episode that Miranda is her own editor, so there are some typos in the book. But there is a moment where it's like, a 1-year-old gets tattooed, and it's like, wait, it has Hug Life? Is that a typo from Thug Life? No. It's symbolism, because of the fact that he's a deadbeat dad who will never be with his baby again to raise him. He'll never be able to hold his child, hence the term Hug Life. And I don't know why, but that made me just laugh so hard. So then later on in the episode, we go over to Ella, who's having a sit down with Calvin about the situation and the fact that, look, you two went through a divorce, but you're not bitter. And I'm thinking to myself, Miranda was kind of bitter, if you ask me, at least in season 9. And, you two are doing good things with your lives now, so you don't need to be afraid of slander from a book, especially because you weren't written in it. But it's kind of interesting because the book is called I Was Always the Main Ship. Well, all things considered, despite being the main ship, you're the one who decided to, float away from the dock, Miranda. Remember, you were the one that, untied the tether and let the boat flow away. Because initially, when you think about the title of the book, I was always the main ship. What are you going to think about? Oh, this might be a slander piece on both Calvin and Laura. Because guess what? She's the new ship that's docked in that's about to be wiped up by Calvin. So, yeah, the episode was truly misleading in that Miranda was just going in on the family and whatnot. But in reality, it was the fact that, she had her own story to tell, which I thought was a pretty interesting diversion, a twist on what the episode, I thought it was going to be. But honestly, the episode is pretty straightforward. This is going to be probably one of my shortest House of Pain reviews. But, I like seeing Floyd. We got Christian. Jasmine's in the house. So it was pretty good. Yeah, that's really all I have to say. 8 out of 10. Don't let the link to this review fool you. This was a pretty decent episode. And yeah, that's all I got. So thanks so much for tuning in. Like and subscribe. Oh yeah, also Ella had a Curtis moment at the end where Calvin mentions that Christian messed up her flowers in the back practicing soccer, and then this woman goes to get a golf club out of the closet and Calvin starts running. So yeah, that was pretty funny. All right, well guys, this was a good episode. I'd recommend it. Like and subscribe, follow me on social media, and I will talk to you in the next one.